Hey, Facebook family.
Hello.
Hey, here we go. Trying to get our sounds right, and give me one sec. I lost it again, actually. There it is. I got it.
Ah,
Great.
got it?
Yep, I'm getting my sound.
Perfect.
I think that's right. Hey, Facebook family. And Aisha, as I'm introducing, this is Al Laws. Every Tuesday evening at 8:30. We're here for Advice for Life. Thank you for joining us. As we always try to bring you great insight about relationship. And every week our family joins us. They come on and they join us and they come together. And I love it because they come together and they show up for this program every week. And they demonstrate to us that what we're doing is valuable. So happy to have you. Remember, as my people come on, I see the thumbs up and the hearts coming. And I'm trying to pull everybody up. And it's not coming through for me. I don't know whether I have to refresh it, but I want to see my people. There I am. There we are. Together. Yes, I see my family coming on. Thank you. Tell me how the sound is. Put the thumbs up and the hearts if you can follow the sound. It sounds like it's pretty good for me in here. I'm gonna just turn it down just a little bit, but so.
Hello, everyone.
So yeah, thank you for joining us. Remember, every Tuesday evening at 8:30, you can join us. We come together and we discuss about relationship. And what I love about it is that when everybody's coming in, when a family joins in, your wisdom is added to our wisdom. So this is not just a one or two man show. This is a collective coming together and really discussing really important things about relationship. Remember, you can always go on my website, our website, which is www.advice4life.us. And on that website, we have an array of programs, both podcasts, so you can listen to podcasts, which is great because when you go to work and you're driving, and things might get boring, you're listening to advice that's going to help you for your life. And you also can look at it while you're working out or when you just have some leisure. We also have an array of programs, of video programs. You actually can go on our YouTube channel, and in that YouTube channel, look for my name, Al Laws Jr. And when you pull that up, we have probably, I guess, at least 75, 80 programs, videos that you can look at.
Hello.
Yep. And did I introduce my wife?
No. Hi, I'm Aisha Laws.
For those of you who are new, who don't know, this is my wife Aisha, who joins me every week. I just start yapping. I apologize, babe. So when you go on YouTube, I need you to go there. I need you to really push the YouTube. We're going to be switching our format so that we're going to be both on Facebook and YouTube. But we already have our YouTube channel. So if you like it, please share it and go out and let people know that we're there. You can also follow me on YouTube. So follow me on YouTube. I am going to be doing a series on your relationship with money and with finances. And it is going to be a blessing to you. I'm telling you, you will do not want to miss this. So if you want to be a partaker, you have to follow me because only clips of it are going to be given to the public. Only those who follow me will be there, and that's going to be happening in the month of May. Sometime in the month of May, maybe sooner, but follow me. Also, I say share, it's fair. So if you go down to the left-hand corner of your device, you'll see a box that says share. I need you to hit share, and that will go out to all the folks in the Facebook community that you're connected with. That'll let them know that you're here, you're with us. That gives them an opportunity to join us, and for them to know that you appreciate the show and you appreciate what we're doing. And we just love you to do that. So I said it doesn't really cost anything to connect on this program, but I need your support. I need your support. So share. It's fair. So Okay, I told you all those things, and now I'm done. So those of you who have been on the program before, I love that you come on. This is your time while I'm talking to be commenting. I love the hearts, the thumbs up. You can hear us clearly, and that's good. But this is your time to really begin to start the dialogue, start questions if you have questions, and we jump in and try to support and answer. So I want to check in with some of my folks that have come on. Of course, I see my cousin George Brooks came on, and my mother came on, Andrea, and Abiba joined.
Hi, Abiba.
She said, hi, Alan, Aisha. And George said, it sounds great. Everybody's saying it sounds great. That's good. Hey, Dr. Warren Jackson. Hey, that's my brother. Hey, man, you gotta get with me. Give me a call. I need to hook up with you. So, yeah, it's good to see you. Thanks for joining. And, of course, Joe Bean. James Joe Bean has been so consistent. Thank you, Joe Bean. He said, good evening, good people. Joe Bean in the house. Yes, he is in the house, as he has been consistently. I'm looking for my other folks that usually are with me. Like, I start getting nervous when I don't see my regulars coming to the table. You know, it's like when you have an establishment, a restaurant, and, you know, my wife says this all the time. What do you say about what you do with restaurants and places?
What do you mean?
Being a regular.
Oh, I enjoy being a regular because when you arrive, they know who you are, what you like.
Right.
They know you, and you know them.
You know them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's that movie, that series called? Not Friends. Cheers. Norm. Right. Everybody shows up and they know each other. So it's nice when people come on a consistent basis. We know who you are. We know that you're with us, and it's encouraging for us to go forward. So tonight, we just been freestyling it. A couple things just came up in our hearts, and just wanted to talk to you about it. I'm connecting this to some of the other skills that we have, and I just want to go back from last week when I talked about the awareness wheel. And remember, the awareness wheel is really about you becoming aware of yourself. And the powerful thing is when you become aware of yourself, you become more aware of others. So the awareness wheel, which is you looking at your intentions, and then you look at thoughts, feelings, and how those things connect to your behaviors. So that wheel, that connective process is so important as it relates to your communication skills. So you become a much better communicator when you can go through that sequence, that wheel. Intentions. Intentions are what you intend, what you wanted to do for yourself. What somebody is really trying to say, what they are really trying to do, what they're really trying to get. And we're going to talk about today what they really need. Because it's really what's underlying all the other things. And they connect. So if I need something, if I'm really trying to get or want something, I connect that to my thoughts. So I may have thoughts about what I need or what I want. Now, they are two different things, and we'll talk about that. What you need and what you want are two different things. But in the awareness wheel, the intentions set up the baseline. It's really the real inner thing that you need and you want. I see the thumbs up and I see the hearts. I see you connecting and you're liking that. And then you have thoughts about those needs and those wants. Now the problem is, because you don't disseminate between needs and wants, you have a tendency, and we have this predisposition to focus on what we want rather than what we need. Because a lot of times what we want, we put a lot of icing and gravy and extra stuff on our wants. Right? And they're usually our needs covered over with all this other stuff that just seem nice. It's almost like, you go get a scoop of ice cream at night. You say, I'm just going to have a little scoop of ice cream right before I go to bed. And then you see the chocolate syrup, and you put that on there, and you put the nuts on there, and you put the whipped cream on there. You put the sprinkles. You got all this other stuff when you just went down. What you really were after was that one scoop of ice cream, and you would have saved yourself a lot of calories after putting all that caramel and all that other stuff in that ice cream. You should have just ate the ice cream. That's really what you were going for. So your intentions set up for what the baseline of what you want. You have thoughts about it, and then you have associated feelings. And feelings that, as I talked about last week, and it's worth repeating as many times as possible, is that when you are getting to your feelings, it's one of the most deepest places for you to be as an individual, because your feelings a lot of times will give you a direct line. It actually bypass your thoughts and go right to your intentions and what it is you are really experiencing and what you really need. And so I say that most of us have trouble getting in touch with our feelings because we speak a lot of words. We say a lot of words instead of just saying, I feel hurt.
Hurt, loved.
I feel loved. Mm-hmm. I feel understood. I feel discouraged. I feel disrespected. And it's amazing when you are able to tap into your feeling. That thing will bypass all the words and the thinking that's in your thoughts. Because your thoughts will go 1,000 different places. That's how you know it's not a feeling if you got a whole lot of words connected to it. That's why I tell you to simplify it and just say, I feel. You know, I feel confused. Or, you know, I feel unloved. And what happens when you say that, God is giving you this ability to tap in. And when you say I feel and you say that feeling, it will go directly past your thoughts. Sometimes that's good. It's good if you're going back to your intentions. It's bad if you go the other way. If you don't think before your behavior, that's bad. If you don't think before, to get to your intentions, that's a good thing. Because your feelings will direct you back to your intentions. That is what you really need, what you really want, what you really are trying to do for yourself. And then, of course, you have behaviors. And so you can look at your behaviors and you can trace those behaviors all the way back through your feelings, your thoughts, and get to the baseline of your intentions. And when you learn how to do that, then you have a much better ability to be in touch with your awareness. You're more aware of who you are. You're more aware of why you're doing things. You're more aware of your situation. You become almost like this superhero as it relates to your own individual intentions. And your own individual awareness. Like, you can see, it's like Spider-Man with his spider senses. You know where you are at all times. So if you know you're caught in your feelings, you know, man, I need to acknowledge what my feelings are. I feel this. If you get caught in your thoughts and you're saying a lot of words, you're like Spider-Man. Your senses, your spider senses go off, and you start saying, oh yeah, okay, I'm thinking. Let me get clear about my thoughts. Let me be very clear, single pointed about my thoughts. And then you know that your goal, your destination is to get to your intentions and to see your intentions. And then that will help you interpret your behaviors. That's a very powerful thing when you're able to do that. You become very powerful as a person. Your awareness becomes very clear and apparent to people. And what's so really, really powerful and important is that when you get in touch with your own awareness, you become much better at getting in touch with somebody else's awareness. Now, the secret is you got to get in touch with your own awareness first before you start working on somebody else's awareness. But when you are in that spot, that zone, that ability, that insight of what what's going on in your own awareness, you are aware, you're in touch with your thoughts, your feelings, your behaviors, your intentions. When you are able to do that, then when somebody else is responding, you can begin to become in touch with what they are experiencing, what they are feeling, what they are thinking in that moment, and what their intentions are. And that becomes a very, very powerful thing. And you learn how to be able to communicate better, how to connect better, how to be able to recognize, because you recognize yourself, you can recognize what's going on with others. So I'm connecting this conversation about, the thing that I was talking about earlier, connecting what we want and what we need to the deep part of our intention. And I'm also going to connect it to another skill, which we can bring up later, which is having realistic expectations. Because I think what we talk about with realistic expectations is that, and I'm not going to go into this now, I'll tell you later. Realistic expectations are really important as it relates to you trying to understand and relate to what you really need and what you really want. So that's my setup. That's really what was in our hearts to kind of discuss and talk about. And then, I set up, and somebody has to set up the bowling pins. I set up the bowling pins, and my wife got the big rolling ball, the bowling ball, and she's used to strikes. So here comes the strikes, y'all. I'm letting y'all know the strikes are coming. All I did was set up the pins. So here she goes. And some of you know, go ahead and put your thumbs up in your hearts because you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, as you were speaking, I had this picture in my mind, when I was younger, how important, Valentine's Day. Oh my gosh, Valentine's Day was so huge. If you didn't have a boyfriend, or if you had a boyfriend, everything had to be right. If it wasn't right, if everything wasn't planned out, you had to take the reins, you had to take control of it. It was just this huge. It was so.
It had to be set up right, huh?
Oh my! It was unreal how big this was. It was so big that if it wasn't right, it said a lot about the relationship altogether. Like, was the relationship real? We don't know whether it's real. I feel unloved. I feel unheard. All this around. Whether or not we got the reservation at the right restaurant.
Right.
Whether or not he picked me up 5 minutes early or 5 minutes late. All of this so huge. And I'm thinking, this is what I need. But that's not what I need. That's what I want.
Right.
But it was on top of this layer.
Right.
It was like an onion. It's a layer that was protecting my actual need.
Which was?
Quality time.
Quality time. Your love language.
My love language.
We need to talk about love languages too at some point.
I needed quality time. So when I don't get quality time, then Valentine's Day gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Like it was
right.
I mean, there's no way you could reach to the top of that. I mean, I have no idea how you really accomplish that task. So it really was covering up something.
Right.
So it was a temper tantrum that covered up a true need.
Right. So you had a need for quality time.
A need for quality time.
And you also had a need for attention and for belonging. And sometimes people have a need for intimacy when they because they want that kind of romantic, intimate place where it's just you and that person, and they really care about you and nothing else in the world.
Now, see, when I say quality time, that encompasses all of those things. All that is in quality time. Otherwise, it's not quality to me. That's just quantity.
So I shouldn't even be like asking. I shouldn't be asking this question after 24 years, right?
Well,
so there's something wrong.
You're clear. You do a good job. Baby.
I do. Okay.
You do
wow.
A good job.
Hey, thank you, Jesus. Woo. It's getting hot in here, y'all. Woo.
So I understand, but if you don't have that self-awareness to really understand who you are, where you stand, what your needs actually are, what they look like, then it can get buried in a sea of ideas of what you want.
Right.
It can get buried in the midst of that.
I like what you said about that. A sea of ideas of what you want.
Yes.
Let me picture that. A sea of ideas of what you want. Now that is so powerful because we just went fishing. And a friend of ours has this massive boat, and I hope they check in at some time. James and Sandy Joe blessed us, and we went out on their beautiful boat, and it was amazing watching the ocean water.
Yeah.
And I quoted the scripture there. It says that they who go down to ships by day or by night, these know the work of the Lord. And what it's really saying is that when you get to that ocean and you see that ocean, it's like this thing is humongous.
Ooh.
And it's so intimidating to be on that ocean, and you're saying this thing is so far down and deep, and it's stuff down there that I have no clue how to deal with. Like I'm clear that I don't have a clue how to deal with all this stuff under this water, and it's so big, it's so vast, and you don't know what you're gonna bump in. So we're going along, we saw shark, we saw dolphins,
a giant turtle,
sea turtle, and then they had a nerve to put me on the line, and we pulled up this big grouper. And I'm telling you, I ain't never seen a fish that big in my life. I know people are going to say, this is a fish story. Well, this is the real fish story. This fish was about this big and this around, right?
Well, the head was, that big.
Yeah, and it went down like this. Huge. I'm saying, and they said that was a small grouper.
Yeah, that was a small one in comparison. Yeah.
Now, I can't imagine, just with that fish right there, let alone the shark. With that fish, if I encountered that fish, I would have no clue what to do with it. But that you said that sea of what? Ideas of what you want. So that's what happens in our thoughts, that our needs get covered up by a sea. The sea, and the reason why they say the ship, the people who ride ships know the work of the Lord, because when you put all those dynamics and the weather, and then it gets dark, you need God. Because that thing is so overwhelming. It's incredible. So that's what happens, is that we have this sea of ideas and all these thoughts that are surrounding what we need. And what happens is that we end up in this storm. And the storm clouds our ability to really see, pun intended, a sea of ideas that begin to attack and look at, and by that time we lose what our real need was and what our real intention is, and we might be trying to work on stuff that we really don't really want or need. And we get to the end of it and we say, I want this, I want that, and then we get it and we wonder why that didn't really satisfy me. That really didn't. That's not what I really. You said this. That's not what I really wanted. Or I thought I wanted that, but I don't. And then you try to come up with another want to try to substitute what you think you really wanted before. But what the problem is that you lost sight of what your real need is, because you have this sea of ideas that are covering and clouding it, and you've pushed the real need that you have further down to the bottom of that ocean.
What's so very interesting is that a lot of people don't even know what the need is.
Right.
They don't know themselves what the actual need is. They'll actually say it's Valentine's Day, but it's not, because when Valentine's Day is over, they're still not happy the rest of the time, because they have not established in their own spirit, this is what I actually need. Because if you give that person quality time all year long, who cares about Valentine's Day?
Right.
They don't really care about Valentine's Day. They really care about quality time.
Right. Right. So I think that's why it's important in the awareness wheel to connect that. Because that person, their behavior might have looked like this. All the things that were set up in Valentine's Day did not happen the way that they thought it should happen.
Right.
The person showed up late. Then they ruined it. This is funny. Then they ruined the whole night. Now, can you imagine this? Your desire is to have a great evening, but the person shows up late. And a person like my wife, she wouldn't do that now. You didn't. But I'm saying you would have the capacity to do this. A person who's a timely person could get so upset about the person being 10 minutes late that they would ruin all the rest of the night because that person was 10 minutes late. Now what happens there is that this is important. Your behaviors can exacerbate keeping you from getting to your real intention and your real need. See, that's where the rubber hits the road. You have all these behaviors that you do, and you're reactive to something that's going on, and you think that behavior is going to help you get what you want, but actually your behavior is keeping you further away from what you really need and what you want. Because what you need is that intimacy. What you need is that recognition, that time. So why would you trade in being upset and mad for 10 minutes of time for all the rest of the hours after that 10 minutes that you could have had. So that's why you have to be very careful in your awareness, because your behaviors will betray you unless you are aware, and unless you have allowed God to, and that's very important when you are sensitive to what God is saying to you about your character and your behavior, because as soon as you're in tune and in touch with that, you have a much better opportunity. You're much more keen on not allowing your behaviors to control you. Because in that behavioral realm, what happens is that when you don't have clear intent, your intentions are not really clear to yourself. Your thoughts are not really clear. You got a lot of thoughts. You got a sea of ideas and concepts that are covering over your intention. And then you get to your feelings, and you just bypass your feelings. You don't have a clue what your feeling is. You move all that into the behavior realm. It's all mixed up, and you got to see what storm going on, and you get to the behavior realm, and you're liable to do anything. You're liable to respond any kind of way because you're reacting to all these things that you have not been aware of through the whole process.
I think that goes to intent.
Mm-hmm.
It is a paradigm difference. It's intent. When someone is timely,
mm-hmm.
the intent is to make certain that everyone feels special, that everyone knows that this is your time. They're putting intent behind their timeliness. So then they believe that everybody's paradigm is the same.
That's true.
So then when you're late to something that they're doing,
mm-hmm.
they feel that your intent is disrespectful.
Right.
When it might not be.
Right.
But it feels that way
right.
to them. So it speaks to them differently. So it's important that when dealing with someone whose intent is that way, you have to move accordingly. Because otherwise, it's no different than a person that is, relaxed in their behaviors and not timely in any way. If you rush them, then they feel disrespected and
right.
unheard.
Right.
So you always have to deal with each other that way. So it depends on who's doing what for who. Right. When you're doing something for a person who has that level of intent and purposeful movement,
mm-hmm.
then you have to move with purpose. And you have to move accordingly. At least put forward an effort to do so. And if not, then it could be a loss. Got to put an L,
Mm.
It could. And you're right that paradigm is different. But when you're dealing with each other, it's important to manifest what the other person needs in the moment. So that's why I said when dealing with quality time,
mm-hmm.
if you take a person who's dealing with quality time out on an excursion with 700 people, they might not feel like that's quality.
Right.
They might feel like, they're just one of the herd.
Right.
So it's important to be very purposeful in your intent there, because intents can be misconstrued.
Right. Well, I think in that example, in both cases, either way that it went, that it would be more appropriate and skillful to plan ignore the situation so you could deal with it at a more appropriate time. So planned ignoring is not to ignore it completely. It's just to say, I'm not going to put our energy on this because there's something greater that needs to happen.
Absolutely.
And so I don't like at it, and I'm not even gonna go to the skill to say I feel disrespected that you were late.
Oh no, yeah.
So if you start dealing with it, even if you share your feelings and they're true, you're going to create an unnecessary thing. Whereas planned ignoring says, I'm going to wait to a more teachable time. I'm going to wait to a time where we are both in a good place and it's really time for us to discuss and talk about something, and then I'll come back and deal with the time. But I will not allow one incident. Or it's the same thing if you feel rushed, if you're the person being rushed.
Right.
I'm not going to say I feel rushed, or I feel like you making me, not want to go on this thing. You rushing me. No, you plan to ignore it.
Exactly.
You go ahead and do your little shuffle and brush and say, okay, I'm going fast as I can. You might get some fussing or whatever. You plan to ignore that until a more teachable time where you can then come back and deal with that.
Timing is everything. I believe that. I believe that timing is everything when it comes to manifesting love.
Right.
When you're manifesting love. And I think what we're sharing is the same, only
Sure.
I'm speaking on the side of the person that's giving something, and you're speaking on the side of the person that's receiving it.
Right.
So,
no, it's the same thing. That's why I said
same
it's the
thing,
same response, no matter how you deal with it. So I'm going to tell my folks that have come on again. Remember, this is your wisdom that you're sharing in this community, and I need you to go share. It's fair. If you are enjoying this, if you're getting something out of this, I need you to hit that button in the left-hand corner of your device, and you can hit share, and it'll invite other people to come in. And I know a lot of you that are out there that are listening, some of you that I've talked to myself, who you have never even come on to say hi, but you're listening every week. I want you to at least come on, say hi, do something, make a comment, let us see your wisdom. I see those thumbs up. And we have some of my regulars came in. Kawina and Angela came in.
Oh, hi guys.
And I haven't gotten a lot of your comments and feedback this week. Some of my regulars are not coming on, so they must want me to take a vacation. Y'all want me to take a vacation, right? Right? It must be a vacation because my regulars, usually you guys are keeping my conversations going. You're making it happen. So let me know. I'll take a vacation if y'all tired of us. If you tired. So
you will do what God says do.
Well, I will. I will. I'm gonna follow you, baby. I'll follow you. So somebody said, no way, not yet. So I think this is so important because there is a difference between what we want and what we need.
Absolutely.
And I'm not saying there's something wrong with our wants. Let me say that. That's not necessarily anything wrong with our wants. I'm just letting you know that a lot of times wants are the parts that are beefed up and added to and shined up and it has all the sprinkles and the icing and the cake. So we want certain things, and there's nothing wrong with wants. There's nothing wrong with working hard to get what you want. There's nothing wrong with looking for what you want. And in fact, my philosophy is that you have priorities. You have to make sure you meet the basic things, the needs, but you should be trying to give people what they want. In addition to giving them what they need, right. I think you should first give them what they need, because you might give them what they want and you don't meet what they need, and that's not going to fulfill them. But if you give them what they need, and then you add the want, then they can appreciate the thing that you've given them because you've made the basic need. So I don't believe that there's a problem with you pursuing what you want, or creating opportunities to get what you want, or to set yourself up so you can get what you want. I think your attitude about your wants is different than your attitudes about what you need. And sometimes people respond to their wants as though they need them. Like if you don't do this, you have undercut the very basic fabric and fiber of who I am as a person. As opposed to our needs. Now, we all have basic needs that we have to have, and I think those needs are very important and should be fulfilled. Meaning, I'm not saying you should just get a little bit of your needs. I think all your needs. God said he will provide for all your needs according to his riches in glory. Now, he didn't say all your wants, but he said later in the scriptures, he said that he would bless you with houses and lands, and you would be the head and not the tail, above, not beneath. He talks about having additional portions, that God would add portions to you in your life. So God will give you your wants. God will allow you to have your wants, but the key is you have to have this set up properly. You have to have realistic expectations. You have to know that you have to be faithful to what God has called you to do in fulfilling the needs of others. Mm-hmm. That your heart should be to fulfill the needs that God has put around you in your life. And if you fulfill the needs, not only will God fulfill your need, because he said what you sow you will reap, he will also add to you. He says he will add to you. He will add, which will begin to address your wants. The things that you have sparkled up and shined up and, wrote on Santa's list 1,000 things. God will start giving you those things that you desire and want that are above and beyond your needs. So, but the secret is that we work backwards. We try to pursue what we want. And we discount our responsibility for responding to needs. Mm-hmm. But what's really happening in that is that we are not in touch with our own need. Because if you're a person who's responding and pursuing from your wants, and I'm going to use this example because we're all adults, right? So if a man is pursuing a woman to have sexual relationships in whatever context, because he thinks that's what he wants, and that's all he pursues, that's all he can see, he might not recognize within himself that he's missed what his need is. His need might really be companionship. His need might really be intimacy. His need might really be somebody who got his back, that he can trust, but all he can feel his urge of what he wants, because his urge is that behavior, that acting, that action part that covers up his intent and what he really needs. And so he thinks, well, if it didn't work on that one, I'll go to this one, I'll go to that one. Right. And then if he gets validated for that, okay, maybe that feels another need, meaning his pride and his sense of bravado. But the real need, that bravado and people patting you on your back, that ain't gonna give you anything. Like, you not getting nothing from that. You think, you won't say it unless you're, what he says in places and parties where you guys talk about stuff like in secret places. When you get to your secret place, you know that there's something else you're not getting to your needs. So my point is that when a person is pursuing their want, and their wants as the first thing, they are missing what's going on with their need. That's my real point with that.
Well, we are spirit beings surrounded by flesh. Mm. And so a lot of times we can't see our spirit. We can see our flesh. And the flesh speaks loudly.
Spirit speaks loud.
And the flesh is never satisfied. So we could be poor and someone give us those absolute sneakers that we wanted. And then when we'll wear them, we'll want something else that matches them.
Right.
Or we could be millionaires.
Right.
And have everything that we desire surrounding us, and let somebody put the wrong coffee in front of us and we are not satisfied.
Wow.
We could be billionaires and have our own island and be surrounded by our loved ones and find somewhere that we are not.
I don't like the way they manicure the grass.
Right.
I don't like the way the garden's taking care of it. They put the wrong flower over there.
Grass seed down. I didn't like those flowers. Something will be wrong because the flesh is never going to be satisfied. This is the reason why God asks us to know each other by the Spirit.
By the Spirit.
So that we would be able to identify not only what we need, but what that person needs, what that other spirit that's sitting next to us needs.
Right.
Not just by the flesh, what is beautiful, because he's beautiful. Not just by the beauty or by
somebody put a thumbs
flesh,
up. I like that.
but by the spirit of the man,
right,
the spirit of the woman, the spirit of your brother, your sister that's sitting before you,
right,
the spirit of your wife, the spirit of your husband, we would know what the need is if we knew each other by the spirit.
right,
And all we need do is listen.
right.
Because we know him by the Spirit.
By the Spirit.
And those that know him will hear their Father's voice. And if we listen, we'll hear it from one another. And then we'll hear the need.
Right.
And so really the reality of it is that it's not that hard. We just talk a lot. It's not really that hard. We talk a lot because we're trying to figure out what this flesh needs and what the flesh wants.
Right.
So we're talking, trying to convince everybody to meet those things.
Right.
And even when we get them, we're not happy.
Not happy.
No.
Right, because that's a perfect thing in that behavior area that has not, that where you're not aware of your intentions, you're not aware of your thoughts, you're not aware of your feelings,
right,
and your behaviors start acting out, and then when you're in that intentions, when you really are not in tune with that, I mean, you got so much mixture, and so you come out of that and say you want something. So I'm saying whenever you're pursuing what you want,
danger.
It's dangerous. That when that becomes your first move, what I want, I'm trying to get what I want out of this, as opposed to let me assess, let me be aware of what the need is.
Right.
So it's all right for you to look at your own need, because you have to make sure you're in touch with your own and aware of your own needs. But you should also have the heart to be aware of the other needs that are there. And that keeps you from being selfish. It keeps you from being a person who is not in touch with the things that are around you.
Right.
It teaches you a lot of powerful lessons when your first pursuit is to look at the needs that are before you. And I guarantee you, when you learn to live with that type of mentality, God will fulfill your needs and he will fulfill a lot of your wants. Now, some wants he don't give you because you kill yourself. Some wants he don't give you because he knows better. So sometimes you better thank God for not giving you everything that you wanted.
Right.
But
true.
I'm saying that it's such a blessing, because what you can do is, even if you don't get what you want, what I've learned is that my wants, they really get dumbed down when I really look at the manifestation of what I've given to meet people's needs. Like, I get more fulfillment. I used to didn't believe that in the scriptures where it says it's more blessed to give than receive.
Really?
No, that don't make no sense. What are you talking about? When somebody give me something, I'm happy. I feel good. But it really, as you work your commitment and you're aware of it, because I'm aware of my need and I become aware of other people's need. When I'm fulfilling that need, I really, really get this charge, this energy, this fulfillment that I don't really get from quote unquote my wants. And I've gone down. I don't even ask God for what I want no more. Mm-hmm. I really don't. I really ask him to make me sensitive and aware about myself, sensitive and aware about the people around me. I may ask if I identify something that I need, I may ask that, but he's just so good. So I'm just saying, understanding that process is important. Understanding your awareness and your intentions, your thoughts, your feelings, and how your behaviors relate to that is such a vital thing. And then being able to discern the difference between your needs and your wants. And remember, your needs are those things that are underlying that what your real intention is, what you're trying to do for yourself, what it is that's really the thing that's going to fulfill you. Not the object, not the material itself, because the material is your concept, as my wife says, is your sea of ideas about what you think is going to fulfill you. Mm-mm. But what's going to fulfill you is identifying what your need is and then trusting God to give you the wisdom to fulfill that need. And I believe you do that by fulfilling the needs of others. Give and it shall be given unto you. Mm-hmm. And I believe that that's worked in our lives. Absolutely. Absolutely. Give and it shall be given. Your first thought is to give. Your first thought is to think about what is going on. Again, that's not that you shouldn't be aware of your need, because the Bible says if you don't learn to be aware and love yourself, you don't even put yourself in a position to love others. So in the same way, I tell you, you should work on your own stuff. You should identify the things that you're working on. You should also be more aware of yourself. And as you become aware of yourself, then you have permission, because you've worked on yourself, to then deal with others in that way.
Absolutely. I mean, it's very important that we extract the precious from the worthless. That's our soapbox right there. That's our soapbox, extracting the precious from the worthless, and you got to do that for yourself as well.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, you can't even speak into your own life.
Right. Right.
You have to be able to extract it, and I think it's important that your motives always be having your eye on the prize. Is what I'm trying to say. And what is the prize? Is the prize something that you want, or is the prize something that your brother might need?
Right.
Because if I pick out a car that I really love, I just really want this car, and that's okay for me to want a car that I love, and I want this car really bad. But then, if my brother is homeless, then maybe I need to be asking for a house for him instead of for the car for me. You know, and I think that our motives are important.
Yes.
Our motives are important.
What we're trying to get for ourselves.
What we're trying to get for ourselves should be set aside if the need is greater over here. If the motive is always about what I want instead of identifying the needs, it's like triage. That's what I just saw in my head.
Okay.
It's like triage when you go to the hospital. When you go to the hospital, they measure everybody's need. Everybody that comes in there has a need.
That's true.
Everyone.
That's true.
That comes to the hospital is not just coming there for no reason. They're there because they have a need, and they need someone to tend to them.
Right.
So, in triage, they are actually assessing the needs. They're talking to you. They're taking your blood pressure. They're assessing who can wait.
Right.
And who needs me now.
Come on.
They're assessing those needs. And I think in life, what we need to do in order to assess the needs is assess ourselves, whether we are whole enough
to heal.
Right. Whether we're in a place to heal.
Yes.
And if we are, then a lot of the things are wants that are on our plate. Then we need to assess our brethren around us in our household, because we are our brother's keeper.
That's right.
And identify who on the triage list is having a heart attack, who's bleeding out. And some people look fine on the outside, but they are bleeding internally.
That's right.
And they might go faster than the guy that's having a heart attack. So triage is important. It's very important to be able to assess the needs.
That's beautiful. I love that picture, that word, that we call that a mirror, and it's a metaphor. So she gave an example, a picture. A metaphor gives a picture and a reflection of what's being there. So hopefully you've gotten something out of this. This has been a very powerful dynamic. Again, I need you to let people know that we're here. I need you to put the word out. Again, hit the word share in the left-hand corner of your device, and that'll let people know that we're here. At least they can touch base. Remember, I want you to be communicating and talking, asking questions. And remember, we have our radio show that comes on every Sunday at 9 a.m. It's on iHeartRadio, and you just download the iHeartRadio app, and you select Gospel and then Heaven 600. And every Sunday at 9 a.m., you just put the app on your phone or your iPad, and you just can stream it right to your phone or iPad. We also come on iHeartRadio at 12 midnight tonight. So if you missed it this past Sunday, which I got to remind myself because I missed this Sunday. I missed my own show. 12 midnight tonight, you can listen to us. If you're on the West Coast, that means 9 o'clock. The show is available to you. Just download the iHeartRadio app and remember to go to my website, our website, www.advice4life.us. Again, www.advice4life.us. And you can see an array of podcasts and videos that you can view and see on that. And then, of course, our YouTube. You can go on YouTube and see us. Please go on YouTube. Please share us. Please help us build up our YouTube. We're moving a portion of our platform to YouTube, and really want you to, please send out the word. Repost this program. That's how you can help us. Keep reposting. That will really help us. I'm going to read some of the things as we're going on. She may have some, and I have some. I read some. I saw Angela come on. She said, learn that. Khadijah's there. Hey, Khadijah, good to see you. Love you. Thumbs up. Larnessa, hey, I'm glad everything's well. I'm so happy what's going on with you and your husband.
Oh, praise God.
Yeah, he's doing well. I'm very proud of him. So thumbs up and hearts to y'all. And then let's see. Abiba says, being in the moment, connecting with the person you are communicating is a blessing. Angela said, yes, Al, I thank God for not giving me everything I want. Sometimes I am in a store and pick up the item and place it in my cart on a temporary hold. I examine my thoughts, feelings, and rationale for that item, and most of the time I end up putting something back. I am applying this to other areas of my life. I am being intentional and purposeful as to what goes in my cart of life now. Wow.
Amen. I love that.
What a metaphor. Being purposeful and intentional for what goes in your cart. Because you think you want it, but you need some time. You need to put it in the cart and drive it through the aisles a little bit and get some more thought and feeling and examine your awareness of your intentions before you own it all. And Joseph Barras. Hey, Joseph. Hey, good to have you. Thank you for checking in. I'm just concentrating on the needs and patiently waiting on wants. Very good, Joseph. Like that. Very nice. And Abiba quoted Triage. Carla said, that's great. That's good stuff, Angela. And hey, guys, this has been good. Did I get most of the people?
Yeah.
I did. Okay, great. So this has been great. Thank you for coming. We come together every Tuesday at 8:30. Sometimes it's hard to do this every week. I don't know how television personalities and people come on TV shows every day. It must be their whole life. Because I know that it is a prayerful sacrifice to come here every week. And I will do it as long as people see benefit and value in it. So please show us that you value it by helping to promote it. Tell your friends and families about it. Repost this program in Facebook. Even better, go to YouTube and look at it. Look at it many times. Show it to your friends. Begin to share it with people so they'll look at it and let us know that you appreciate what we're bringing and that this is helpful to you overall. So thank you again. Thank you again for joining us again every Tuesday evening at 8:30. It is Facebook Live, Advice for Life with Al and Aisha. And we love you, and we will see you next week. God bless.
God bless. It's the other side. It's not that one, baby. It's the big one. Al, you're on the wrong one.